We've got them all over here in the staging area, 17 competitors in this first class. We will hand out 6 ribbons in the Buck Kid class. We'll start working the yearlings up at this time. Yearling Angoras to the staging area, please. Our judge today is Mr. Charles Seidensticker. Mr. Charles is a graduate of Angelo State University, lives in Comfort, Texas. That's his hometown. He works with Lindner Feed. His hobbies include raising show sheep and goats. He farms and ranches with his family, and he's part owner of 5 River Bend Farm and Ranch. If you ask Charles about his accomplishments, he says he's lucky enough to get to judge sheep and goat shows across the country and even abroad. One of his favorite things to do is evaluating livestock, working with the youth and the ag industry. Mr. Charles Seidensticker. 17 entries in the Buck Kid class.
Very competitive buck kid class. First off, thank you, San Antonio, for having me out to do the Junior Angora Goat Show. It's a fun sword, and I enjoy looking at these animals. And so, with that being said, I've sorted into the middle of the ring the ones I'm going to keep in place in this particular class. As always, I like to go through and visit with the individuals and just talk to them about their projects and things that can be improved. Good job to all these kids, and especially these one that we're releasing right now. Let's give them a little round of applause. Well, what a neat and interesting class and quality all the way through these 6 and even in the ones that we sent back to the barn. I think that maybe the most important thing that we can do right now in Angora goats, and I see this within my own herd, and I see this as an industry. I judge more Angora goat shows, and it's something that I want to be more passionate about and try and instill within our industry 2 things. We need to make goats more structurally correct. They've got to be better on their feet and legs. And along with that comes not necessarily a big body, but a wide body that's got some substance to it and some production that they can just go ahead and maintain themselves and live a little bit. Because that livability within my own herd certainly has become a problem. After that, then we want to get as much hair on a goat as possible because pounds, we sell it by the pound. And while I really appreciate a beautiful ringlet style, the density of the fleece and how much that mohair weighs means a whole lot to me. So with that being said, that's where I kind of landed on one that I think is the best combination of those. He is not the biggest ribbed goat out here. He's the deepest bodied goat. He's the widest topped goat. He has the neatest structure of his ringlet style from his neck to his shoulder to his side to his breech. And I consider him the most uniform, and I consider him the show goat of the bunch in terms of his look and presence out here and the way he's styled and balanced. I do want to clean up his ears, and I would wish that he had maybe just a notch better set of horns on him. But to me, there's some other problems that guy possesses that can fix some problems within our industry, and that's where I wanted to land on. Absolutely the biggest Cajun one comes into. This is a big-bodied goat that has a robust rib. You get on him, he's probably the finest from one end to the other in terms of his actual micron. You get into his fleece, there's lots of hair there. There's lots of hair. The fibers per square inch on his body, I see less skin whenever I open that fleece up, and it handles. It's not as long stapled as either one of the ones on either side of him, but it's a very fine hair, and it's got lots of mohair on that goat. And I appreciate his body and his style and his mass that guy carries. I don't care how big one is. This guy's a little for me, but I don't really necessarily care how big one is. He's good-bodied, he's level-topped, he's got a long, elegant neck on him. I appreciate his head and horn set and neck set probably as much as anything in this class. I get into his fleece. It's a very long stapled fleece. It's not as uniform from his neck to his breech as the 2 that sit above him, and there's not as much hair on that goat, both whenever I open him up, and he's a little smaller-bodied goat, so I'm not going to get as many pounds of product out of that one as I am these 2. Round out this particular 4 with probably the biggest goat we've got in the top 6. He's a little slicker headed. He's a little bit finer about his, more refined about his body. He has a long staple uniform fleece. Lots of uniform fleeces all the way through that we've seen that. Rounded out this particular class with maybe the one that's certainly acceptable in his fiber micron, but the coarsest one there that we left out here in the top 7. Really a nice class to get us started. Congratulations to these young people. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you for your comments and your placings in our Buck Kid class. 6 places. 6th place went to Katarina Craddock. Our 5th place finisher was Corbin Crenwelge. 4th goes to Kelby Blessing. 3rd is Jace Rabb. 2nd is Corbin Crenwelge, and our class winner from the Sutton County 4-H program, Kelby Blessing. We'll give those kids a little bit of time, get those back to the stall and come up with their yearlings, and then the aged, 10 yearlings and 6 aged. Then we'll select our champion buck of the day. Yearling bucks entering the ring at this time. Yearling bucks, 10 entries in the class, placing 4. 10 entries, placing 4.
Once again, we're going to excuse the ones I left around the rail. Just maybe some issues with uniformity from one end to the other. Some have been working a little hard. Some of the fleeces are a little bit frowsy. We've got a beautiful goat down there that I don't think has enough structure on his hind legs. Let's excuse these goats and give them a round of applause. Here again, I think it's a really good example of what I'm trying to do within the goat industry. This is a big-bodied individual. The depth of his side, the roundness to his rib. You open that fleece up, and there's lots of hair there. The overall pounds of product that guy produces is just massive. And at the same time, I see more uniformity from his neck to his breech, not necessarily compared to our second place, but to the third, fourth, and fifth in terms of his overall fleece characteristics. No, it's not as long stapled. No, it's not as neat ringlet style as our 1 and doesn't come in 2. I consider the guy in 2 appropriate in his size. I like his build. He could be bigger in his kind for me and a little larger outline. For me, though, whenever I open up his fleece, the ringlet style is there, the length is there. There's not as much pounds of product there on that guy as the one that I find above him. And they're fairly similar in the amount of micron that they carry from one end to the other. I think that's a neat place to begin. A really long extended. I like the up-frontedness of this guy in third. Length through his front end, his length of body, his depth of side, all of that matches and it's appropriate. When I watch him go, he's the narrowest tracking off of his hind 2. I question him just in an overall body capacity versus the 2 that sit above him, but he has a high-quality fleece that's uniform from one end to the other. The one that comes in 4 is a very nicely presented goat that gets a little frowsier on both of his sides. Round out this particular class with a big-bodied goat that I wish would stay a little leveler in his top line when we ask him to go in motion. Nice class here in our second class.
Thank you once again for your comments on the yearling bucks. 4th place went to Kelby Blessing. Our 3rd place finisher is Jace Rabb. 2nd also goes to Kelby Blessing. And our class winner coming to us from Sutton County, Corbin Crenwelge. Next up are the aged bucks. 6 entries in that class. We'll let these youngsters get back over and bring them up. Then we'll have our selection of our champion buck. So if you have a first or second in the first 2 classes, we'd appreciate staying close. If you had a first or second in the buck kid or the yearling buck class and you're not out here and you can work your way back up to the staging area, we would appreciate that.
Not much give and take in these older gentlemen here in this final class of our Angora Buck Show. In terms of show ring presence, we landed on a pair that I think are appropriate in their size and scale. I think that they're good in their body cavity, the shape that they give us from the side in terms of the curvature to their rib, and then they've got high quality mohair from one end to the other. Sure, one's a little bigger than the other. Maybe the other one's got a little bit more width to a structure. But I think that as a pair of goats, they fit up here really nicely together at the top of this class. Without a doubt, the biggest bodied individual, levelest top line, longest hipped one, squarest made one does come in third. In terms of an overall stock show and his show presence out here, it's a little lacking in his working effort, but in terms of his overall quality, he matches the two that sit above him in this particular class. Nice way to round us out for the day.
Thank you for those comments, Mr. Seidensticker. We appreciate that. Our third place finisher from Sutton County 4-H program, Corbin Crinwelge. And our first and second place finisher happened to be Ms. Kelby Blessing, also from Sutton County 4-H. We will bring in our first and second from each category, and we'll have the selection of our overall champion buck. So if we could have our first and second place return to the staging area. Entering the ring at this time, we have our 3 first place finishers. Our buck kid was Kelby Blessing. Our yearling buck was Corbin Crinwelge. And our aged buck was also Kelby Blessing. Now coming in, you'll see our 3 second place finishers. With the buck kid, second place, Corbin Crinwelge. Yearling buck was Kelby Blessing, and Kelby also had the aged buck.
High quality buck show within our Angora division. I think that we've got 6 representation out here in the ring in terms of my kind. They've got some body, they've got some mass, they've got some overall production and livability about them, and then we've got as much hair on these goats as we can possibly get, both in staple length and density, and then maintaining the fineness from one end into the other in terms of the uniformity. A really nice 6 goats out here, really a great 6 goats out here. I'm going to go shake the hand of the champion in reserve.
Thank you for those comments, Mr. Seidensticker, and Ms. Kelby Blessing will be your champion buck out of the kid class. And we're going right back to the kid class for the reserve champion. And I do believe that's Mr. Corbin Crinwelge. And yes, it is. Both of those exhibitors from Sutton County 4-H program. Congratulations to all of our buck exhibitors. We appreciate them coming out. Gotta love all the high-fiving too. We'll let them get them back to the pens, and if they'll start bringing up their doe kids are next. 19 in the doe kid class, 19 exhibitors. With 19, we'll be placing 6. 19 places 6.
Entering the ring at this time is our Class 6 Doe Kids, 19 records.
Over here in the Angora barn, we've got 17 entries in the Doe Kid class. There will be a scholarship given for the champion doe. There's a $10,000 scholarship given for the champion doe of the show today. So 6 places in this class.
Once again, as in these larger classes, we're going to try and cut them in half. High quality Angoras all the way through. Nice set of doe kids here we're going to excuse. Let's give all those exhibitors a round of applause.
Thank you for those comments, and we appreciate the youngsters bringing their livestock this year. We hope they'll reload and come back next year and be a part of the show next year.
This is a challenge, and it's because they're so good is the reason. The female that we begin with in terms of just natural Angora goat balance, if you study her body cavity, the width that she carries through her chest floor, the amount of depth to her side, the roundness to her rib, the production that I see in that female, it is only matched by the quality of her fleece from the nose to the tail in terms of uniformity from one end to the other. It matches in just perfect excellence the amount of staple length, the amount of hair that she has on her, and coupled with, I think she's got the best body. The one that comes in two is a little shorter everywhere in terms of her makeup. She's not as long fronted, she's not as long bodied, she's not as long hipped. I certainly appreciate the amount of hair that she's got her. She matches our class winner in terms of the amount of hair that she carries from one end to the other. Her cover over her head, her cover over her tail, down to her feet. It's just as uniform. I just don't necessarily like her body conformation as much as our class winner there. Our top three, that was just challenged in terms of competitiveness. That probably is the one that's got the best body for me in terms of the overall makeup and the production that they carry. In terms of fleece quality, it's not as long in its staple length from one end to the other. It's not quite as uniform in its texture from one end to the other, but that is probably the finest fleece of the top three in terms of the overall micron. It's just not as long stapled or quite the ringlet style that we like to find in that pair that begins. Here is the nicest ringlet style from nose to tail in terms of staple length, how the ringlet stays the same size and the same micron from tip to the skin. There's just not as much hair there. You open that one up, and as far as the fibers per square inch, you don't see as much hair in that particular goat as you do, and there's not the cover all the way across that I see in the three that sit above her in this class. This goat that rounds out is probably the finest, maybe the finest goat we've seen in terms of the overall fleece characteristics today. At the skin, it's a very small micron. It's a very neat fiber. She's not as big. She's not as robust. She's not as opened up. There's not as much production in that female. And whenever I watch her go, she's the one that's the narrowest off of both ends. And being is that I care so much about the body score on these Angora females, making them production. They've also got a high-quality fleece. Hers happens to be the finest. Rounded out this class with high-quality females, 6 through 10, all goats that have nice cover all the way through them. Some are a little harsher to the handle. Some of them don't have enough hair on them. Some of them are just a little smaller. Really a high-quality set of Angora goats. Nice pair up here at the top.
Thank you once again for your comments on the Doe Kid class. Placings in that class, our sixth place finisher was Jace Rabb, Fredericksburg FFA member. Fifth place, Katarina Craddock, Kerr County 4-H member. Fourth place went to Ryland Ward out of the Rial County 4-H program. Third place is Corbin Crenwelge, Sutton County 4-H member. Second place, Kelby Blessing, Sutton County 4-H member as well. And our class winner coming to us from the Fredericksburg FFA chapter, Jace Rabb. We'll give them time to get those back to the pen and bring up their yearling does. 21 records, entries in the yearling doe. We will place 7. 21, placing 7. Yearling does entering the ring at this time. Once again, reminder, 21 entries. That'll bring 7 ribbons. 21 entries is 7 ribbons.
Here again in our yearling does, high quality set, one top to bottom. We're going to excuse some goats that either need some more hair on them, or I wish were a little bigger in their kind, maybe need to be a little softer in their micron, but certainly a high quality set from one end to the other. Just an exceptional group that we've got out here in the middle. Well, what a fantastic set of does in terms of just quality females all the way through, betterment of the breed, things that are unique to find and hard to make, and make them in an Angora goat in terms of the depth of their side, the production that they carry, the center body, their mass, squareness on their feet and legs, the amount of hair, the high quality hair that they carry, and then making it as dense as possible. I think you wrap everything into one, and you land on this female here at the top of this class. In terms of her handle and touch to that fiber, from her neck to her tail, from her nose to her foot, everything matches. She's extremely uniform from one end to the other. I appreciate her head. I like how strong she is there and carries that mohair characteristic out the length of her ear. Her horn is excellent in terms of where she puts emphasis within the weight of her body. The major part of her weight of her body is in the back 2/3 of her body. There's just so many positives here in an excellent female combination place to begin. The problem for me is that I like the body that matches our class winner comes in 3, and the fiber and quality of the hair comes in 2, and I chose to leave those similar patterned individuals together here, first and second. They handle extremely soft to the touch. It's a little higher yielding than even I prefer to use at times, but the length of the staple, the quality of that staple and that ringlet, all the way to the skin, the amount of hair they've got on them per square inch is quite staggering to be that neat and fine at the same time. A nice bodied goat comes in 2 or 3 in terms of her overall cage and her center body. She's a production-oriented female. You can look at her and see that she's probably wider in stature than our second place individual. At the same time, she's not as long or extended or as feminine through her front end. I don't necessarily read those characteristics in her advantage, but she is extremely wide-based and a very production-oriented individual that carries lots of high-quality mohair on her at the same time. It doesn't handle as soft to the touch. It is at times heavier than the one that comes in second in the amount of mohair that she carries, but it's not as fine as either one of the 2 that sit above her in this particular class. Here, rounding out our top 4 with a great big-bodied goat that is awfully level-topped and good, but at the same time, she's the one that when I compare her to those 3, is a little flatter-sided. She's a little shorter in her rib cage. She doesn't necessarily offer us the overall body composition that I particularly like, as we find in those up there. She does have a high-quality fleece, although it's not as uniform from one end to the other as the ones that I see above her. Round out the top 5 with an extremely fine-made individual. This is probably the finest goat that we've seen today. At the same time, it gets frowsier in its structure. It doesn't stay together in a neat ringlet style all the way to the skin. And you open that up, the staple length is not offered in her that I find in the other. And consequently, I don't think there's as much hair there as there is on the goats above her, just from the amount of fineness that she's got. But at the same time, wonderful female, good built body, fine mohair all the way from nose to tip. Just want more there. Let's give these 5 and the remaining out here a round of applause.
Thank you for the comments. We appreciate that. In our yearling doe class, 7th place went to Jace Rabb, Fredericksburg FFA member. 6th place is Hadley Rogers out of the Bandera County 4-H program. 5th is Corbin Crenwelge, Sutton County 4-H member. 4th is back to Hadley Rogers. 3rd goes to Kelby Blessing, Sutton County 4-H. Our 2nd place and 1st place finisher, actually, 1st and 2nd, is Kaylee Ottmers, a Bandera County 4-H member. Yearling does, we've got them in the books. We're ready for the aged does. 19 entries in the aged doe class. There will be 6 places awarded there.
Adams Fab. Established in 2007, they build custom livestock pinning and equipment to fit all your needs. Hanger feeder rods, adjustable slam gate latches, and skirted panels. It all comes standard. Custom pins made by hand and hot dipped galvanized so that you know that they're going to last. Adams Fab is a certified TIPS vendor and can design, fabricate, and install equipment to fit all your needs. Visit adamsfablivestock.com to get started today.
Continue to roll the way they are. Around 11:30, probably we'll get started on the boar goats. Aged does in the ring at this time. 19 records, 6 placings. 19 records, 6 placings.
sometimes I think we expect too much of our older Angora females in terms of show ring eye appeal and what they've got to the ring, because you can make an initial sort on just probably how they've maintained their lock structure and the amount of mohair that they've got on them, both in density and staple length. And all that's going to deteriorate as we get older and making older females, and that's to be expected. But at the same time, these are production-oriented females that have high-quality mohair from one end to the other. You know, there's not a bad one out here. It's just a sort on personal preference, whether it's a goat that's got a little more mohair on it or longer mohair, or the fleece quality or structure of that lock is a little different. And so we need to get to 4 or 5, and I've got 8. And so let's going to go ahead and excuse these, and it's the last class of our Angoras. Let's make sure we give all of our exhibitors here a round of applause. I think, an excellent way to end our Angora Doe show. Not necessarily as deep as we've seen in some of the other classes, but in terms of what we've got selected out here to the top, and including this top pair. It's a top pair and kind of a distant third there in my mind as to what we find. This doe is intriguing from her build up front, the femininity up through her front end, the smoothness there that she offers you. She's got some width. She's got some structure. She is probably the one I appreciate that's the squarest off of her hind two, and yet at the same time has a build that is massive about her center body and lots of production there all the way through. Then we turn the corner and look at her fleece. It's probably, for an older doe, the one that maintains the most luster there close to the skin. She opens up with some weight to that fleece for an older female, and at the same time maintains that fleece staple structure from the skin to the tip. Here with the one that comes in two, maybe just a notch finer in terms of the top side of her body versus our class winner. But in terms of uniformity from front to back, she's a very nice doe. She's not as opened up front or from behind as our class winner. She maybe doesn't carry the center body that I find in my class winner. But from a structural standpoint, she's square-made, level-topped, good female that has lots and lots of fine mohair on her. Rolling into a third-place individual that is not as fine as that pair up there. She doesn't have as much fine mohair on her. She has a very nice lock structure for an older Angora goat. It's a long stapled one. I don't necessarily think that it's as fine, and I don't think it stays as probably as neat at the skin in terms of the lock structure as it touches there, and maybe goes a little flatter as we go against the skin. But she's got lots of hair on her. That's a big goat, square-made individual that I appreciate her size and scale. Definitely the smallest outline, littlest one, comes in fourth. I'm not somebody that cares how big one is. And if you get over the top of her and look at her from either end, she is the one that's busted open in her structure. She's a wide-made, stout individual that offers us lots of production there in her middle body. She just doesn't necessarily have the size and scale that we see in those three above her, but she is one that I think has a very fine fleece. Her fleece texture is a little frowsier than the ones that we find up there. The ringlet style doesn't necessarily stay together. That's something. She's got a cockeyed horn. That I don't care about that. We move down here into some other goats that maybe some that need a little bit more structural correctness off their hind legs, don't have as much uniformity from shoulder to hip, or maybe one that's round out this class with a great big production-oriented goat that just needs to be finer throughout. Nice way to end our doe show. Let's give these exhibitors a round of applause.
Thank you for the comments. In our age doe division, sixth place goes to Katarina Craddock, a Kerr County 4-H member. Fifth is Kaylee Ottmers from the Bandera County 4-H Club. Fourth is Corbin Crenwelge from Sutton County 4-H. Our third place finisher, Kelby Blessing, Sutton County 4-H member. Second, Kaylee Ottmers, again from Bandera County 4-H. And our class winner coming to us from the Fredericksburg FFA chapter, Jace Rabb. We'll give those kids time to get their animals back to the pen. We'll bring back our first and second from each class, the doe kid, the yearling class, and the aged. And we'll select our grand champion Angora goat female of the year, and she will receive that exhibitor. It has a $10,000 scholarship at stake, as well as some beautiful prizes from over off the table.
Every detail matters when preparing your livestock for the show ring. At Producers Co-op, we offer high-quality show feed, supplements, and supplies designed for your animal's best performance. Our specialized feeds promote optimal growth, conditioning, and muscle development for cattle, sheep, goats, pigs, and more. With expert advice and reliable products, we're dedicated to your success. Trust us to help you reach your goals with the feed that works as hard as you do. Come see why at Producers Co-op, it's better here.
as we evaluate our Angora does for the overall champion. Just a reminder of who we have out on the shavings at this time. Coming to us from the Doe Kid class, so our first place finisher was Jace Rabb, and our second was Kelby Blessing. Our yearling does were Kaylee Ottmers first and second, and our age does, Jace Rabb was first and Kaylee Ottmers was second. There is a $10,000.
Well, welcome everybody out to the 76th Annual San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo. Want to thank all of y'all for coming out. Thank y'all for coming out and participating with us. Before we get this kicked off, we want to give a lot of thank yous to our judges, the superintendents, the interns. We'd also like to give a big thank you to the Breeding Sheep and Goat Committee that put this show on for y'all. They've been working tirelessly the last 2 days, getting y'all unloaded into the barns, and then also getting these arenas ready. That committee's led by Miss Audra Schultz, so a big round of applause to the committee for making this happen for y'all. As y'all know, we are a volunteer organization that emphasizes agriculture and education to develop the youth of Texas. To date, San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo has an educational commitment of over $267 million. So without further ado, I'll turn the mic over to the judge. We'll come out here and pick your champion and give the potential to add to those scholarship dollars and get one of these kids a scholarship.
I've thoroughly enjoyed being here today to sort the Angora Goat Show. It's been really fun to look at these fantastic females. It's humbling to think that we're going to award the amount of scholarship money that we have today, and also help better these students with whatever they choose to do at their future education. I've enjoyed working through them. We had excellent representation from each age group. I think that there's one that I landed on in terms of her body cavity, her shape, her dimension, her production that she offers us, and also at the same time being extremely fine fleeced all the way through. So in true San Antonio fashion, let's give a big round of applause to everybody here. I'm going to go shake the hand of the tallest of the winner.
Thank you for your comments. Judge Charles Seidensticker has just selected your age doe, Jace Rabb, Fredericksburg FFA member. He will be the recipient of a $10,000 scholarship.
For reserve champion, we're going to use the one that I think more closely resembles the type and kind of our champion. She's another fantastic female that's fine fleeced, really good on her feet and legs, a square-made individual. I'll go shake her hand.
We're going to go back to our yearling doe, and that's going to be Kaylee Ottmers, Bandera County 4-H. She'll be your reserve champion of the show today. We appreciate all the Angora exhibitors coming out. Hope you reload and come back to us next year again, and we'll move forward here. We've got some pictures and housekeeping to take care of. Once again, 11:30, we'll try to start the Boar Goat Show at 11:30.